जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी 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 जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्त्रोत्र सतीश डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्त्रोत्र सत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। श्री रामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण को गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा द्वारका धाम की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। गंगे माय जमुने माय की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, entitled The Lord's Pastimes Out of Vrindavan, text number 28. Today is the last verse of this chapter. You can repeat after me. Annam choru rasam tebhyo दत्वा भगवदर्पणम् गोविप्राथास्वसुरा प्राणैर्मुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः अन्नं चोरुरसं तेभ्यो दत्वा भगवदर्पणम् गोविप्राथास्वसुरा प्राणैर्मुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः अन्नं चोरुरसं तेभ्यो दत्वा भगवदर्पणम् गोविप्रथास्वसुरा प्राणैर्मुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः अन्नं चोरुरसं तेभ्यो दत्वा भगवदर्पणम् गोविप्रथास्वसुरा प्राणैर्मुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः. माताजीस अन्नं चोरुरसं तेभ्यो दत्वा भगवदर्पणम् गोविप्राथास्वसुरा प्राणैर्मुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः अन्नं चोरुरसं तेभ्यो दत्वा भगवदर्पणम् गोविप्राथास्वसुरा प्राणैर्मुर्भुवि मूर्धभिः. Word to word translation. Annam, foodstuff. Cha, also. Ururasam, highly delicious. Tebhya, unto the Brahmanas. Datva, after supplying. Bhagavadarpanam, which was first offered to the personality of Godhead. Go, cows. Vipra, Brahmanas. Artha, purpose. Asva, purpose of living. Sura, all the valiant Kshatriyas. Pranemu, offered obeisances. Bhuvi, touching the ground. Murdabhi, with their heads. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious foodstuffs. First offered the personality of Godhead and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. Purport. The behavior exhibited by the descendants of Yadu in the pilgrimage site of Prabhasa was highly cultured and exactly to the point of human perfection. The perfection of human life is attained by following three principles of civilization. First, protecting the cows, maintaining the Brahminical culture, and above all, becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. Without becoming a devotee of the Lord, one cannot perfect one's human life. The perfection of human life is to elevate the spiritual world. The perfection of the human life is to be elevated to the spiritual world, where there is no birth, no death, no disease, and no old age. That is the highest perfectional aim of human life. Without this aim, any amount of material advancement in so-called comforts can only bring the defeat of the human form of life. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas do not accept any foodstuffs which is not first offered to the personality of Godhead. Foodstuffs offered to the Lord is accepted by the devotees as the mercy of the Lord. After all, the Lord supplies all kinds of foodstuffs, both to the human being and to other animals. A human being must be conscious of the fact that all foodstuffs, namely grain, vegetables, milk, water, etc., the prime necessities of life, are supplied for mankind by the Lord, and such foodstuffs cannot be manufactured by any scientist or materialist in a laboratory or factory established by human effort. The intelligent class of men are called Brahmanas, and those who have realized the absolute truth in his supreme personal features are called Vaishnavas. But both of them accept foodstuffs, which are the remnants of sacrifice. Sacrifice is ultimately meant to satisfy the Yajna Purusha, Vishnu. In Bhagavad Gita 3.13, it is said that one who accepts foodstuffs as a remnants of sacrifice is freed from all sinful reactions, and one who cooks foodstuffs for maintenance of his body takes in all kinds of sins, which led only to suffering. The foodstuffs prepared by the Yadus at the Prabhasa pilgrimage site to offer to the bona fide Brahmanas, there were all offered to the personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The Yadus offered their sincere obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. The Yadus or any enlightened family in Vedic culture are trained for attainment of human perfection by total cooperation of service between the different divisions of social orders. The word Ururasam is also significant here. Hundreds of delicacies can be prepared simply by combination of grains, vegetables, and milk. All such preparations are in the mode of goodness and therefore may be offered to the personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord accepts only foodstuffs which are within the range of fruits, flowers, leaves, and liquids, provided they are offered in complete devotional service. Devotional service is the only criterion for a bona fide offering to the Lord. The Lord assures that He positively eats such foodstuffs offered by the devotees. So, judging from all sides, the Yadus were perfectly trained, civilized persons, and their being cursed by the Brahmana sage was only by the desire of the Lord. The whole incident was a warning to all concerned that no one should behave lightly with Brahmana and Vaishnavas. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Lord's Pastimes out of Vrindavan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Savadhetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatade Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Before we start discussing this verse, I would like to thank His Grace Purushottam Prabhu for exchanging the days, because I couldn't do it on the day of 17th January, so he exchanged with me. So I'm very grateful to him, so that I got an opportunity to study about this particular verse more deeply. So very grateful to him. Very grateful to the temple management for providing me an opportunity to share my thoughts. And I sincerely seek blessings of all my God brothers, God sisters, and all the assembled Vaishnavas here as well as virtually to bless me, so that whatever I can speak is of benefit to all of you, and I could be the beneficiary as well. So I'll read the translation one more time. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to the personality of Godhead, and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their grounds, by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. So we see here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada calls out the perfection of civilization. Right? Srila Prabhupada says the perfection of human life is attained by following the three principles of civilizations. What are those three principles of civilization? Number one is to protecting the cows. Second, maintaining the Brahminical culture. And third, and Prabhupada emphasizes above all, becoming a pure devotee. Right? So these are the three things of civilization. So from that angle and from that barometer, if you see, practically the current civilization is not at all a civilization. It is just the herds or the society of two-legged animals, because everyone is just focused on eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, which is freely available to any living entity in this world. Right? So let's focus. So we'll discuss about three things. First, cow production. Second, Brahminical culture. And third, the purpose of life. So these are the three things we'll discuss today. So number one, protecting the cows. Is it really important to protect the cows? If you see, even the materialist who has nothing to do with the spiritual life, if you go and find out, even they emphatically say that if cow disappears from this earth planet, entire economy will be in mess. So you see, the cows are the most important living entity to maintain our economy, even from the material perspective. What to speak of the spiritual, right? We have a semi-spiritualist who are having their karma kanda to making their life better and everything. They cannot perform even a single ritual without the cow product. Can you imagine? None of the karma kandis can do any of their rituals without cow product. It's not possible. Right? So now what to speak of the spiritualist? We are all aspiring to be a spiritualist. We are all aspiring to be a devotee. Right? So what is importance, or why cow is important for us, being a spiritualist? The most important thing for us is because Krishna loves cows. Krishna loves cows like anything. Nand Maharaj had how many cows? 9 lakh cows Nand Maharaj had. When Indra offended Krishna, he had to take shelter of whom? Surabhi. Because he knew that if he goes alone, he will not be forgiven. So you can imagine his offense was so great. He gave troubles to Brajavasis. He literally, physically offended Brajavasis. Right? And Krishna forgave him just because Surabhi accompanied. So can you imagine how much Krishna loves cows? And Mother Bhumi, when she was burdened by all these asuras, she also knew that if I go in my original form as a Mother Earth, I don't think so Krishna will listen to my plea. So that's why Mother Earth took a form of a cow to approach Krishna. And by doing that, Krishna immediately reciprocated. Krishna immediately reciprocated. Any picture that you see, even on the altar that you see, right, at Sri Radha Gopinath altar, we have worshipable cows. Why? Because Krishna loves cows. So how important it is for us to protect the cows. I'll share a few stories about the cows. There are many, many stories about cows, but I'll share few. It's really amazing. I had an opportunity to go to a Gaushala near Nigdi with Govinda Prabhu, long back, like I would say more than 10, 12 years back. And this person, he's a pure Gorakshak. He protects the cows which are actually taken to the slaughterhouses. Right? And those are taken to the slaughterhouses in an illegal way. So this person goes somehow that he gets the information from the secret agents, and he goes with his team and do a chapa on all these trucks which is carrying the cows which are actually taken to the slaughterhouses, and he frees them up and not just leaves them on the road, he brings them to his Gaushala. Right? And these cows are not the cows which gives milk and things like that. It's not that he is getting the cows for his benefit. He's getting the cows with the pure intention. He's a pure Gobhakta. He's a pure cow devotee who wants to make sure that cows are taken care. So he brings the cow into his Gaushala. That is not where the story ends. And what amazed all of us was this part. And what was that? So we saw over there in his Gaushala, there were kind of a little weird people taking care of the cows. When I say weird, is actually we are the weird because we are not, at least I am not taking care of the cows actively. Right? So I am weird in one sense. But from the external perspective, these people seems to be weird. Why? Because their dress was disheveled, their hair was disheveled, and they were not cleaned clothes and stuff like that. And who are these people? I don't know whether you have an opportunity to see this kind of people in Mumbai roads as well. There are people who lost their mental stability and lost their memory. They actually leave their homes. And nobody, even their family members, have no idea where these people have gone. And because they have lost their mental stability, so they do not care for bathing, they do not care for eating, and they completely do not take care of themselves. And they just wander like crazy people. So this person, having a mercy on them, he brings those people to Gaushala. He brings those people to Gaushala and engages them in the service of the cows. It's not because he doesn't get the manpower outside. You will see when story slowly unfolds what is going to happen. Now when these people who are having a mental instability, when they start serving the cows, it's really amazing. And we saw with our eyes, the way they were serving the cows was so amazing. They were unclean, but they were making sure that the cows are completely clean. And whenever they had their cow dungs and urine, everything, they make the Gaushala spick and span. That none of us non-weird people, so-called non-weird people, cannot do such a meticulous job of keeping the Gaushala so clean and taking care of the cows. And when they do that, that person who was taking care of this Gaushala, he shared a story saying that these people you see here, you may be afraid of even going and talking to them, right? But believe me, they are the most safe people. And he said that these people who have lost their mental stability by serving the cows within 2 to 4 years, they are mentally absolutely all right and they regain their memories. And then they tell us that, oh, I am from this particular village or I am this particular city. And then even they remember the numbers also. So they call up the home and saying that this person is here, would you like to take him? And the family comes, and there are people who had even come in Mercedes to pick those people because they belong to such affluent families. But just because of their mental instability, they left home and without the knowledge of their family members. So can you imagine the power of Gomata? Even in US nowadays, they are saying that they actually have a cow sheds and there's something called a cow cuddling. You just stay with the cows. Whatever your stress is there, it'll be completely distress. Pura stress nikal jayega. And we all have experience. When we are in the association of the cows, you feel so good. Right? And the cow is such a pure. Right? And if I may speculate, right? Because Krishna loves cows and Krishna so much associating with the cows, and Krishna is the purest of the all pure. So cows also became so pure, just being in association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why you see anything and everything that cow provides is absolutely pure. Have you seen any living entity, jinka malamutra, the urine and stool or the urine and dung is pure? It stinks, right? But the cow urine and cow dung, can you imagine it is used to purify the place. It is used to purify the place. If there is a yajna sthali, first they sprinkle the cow urine. And what do they use in yajna itself? Is cow dung, the dry cow dung paddies. That's what they use in yajna. Can you imagine? So everything that comes out of the cow is pure. What to speak of the milk? Our own mother can nourish us only for few years with her milk. But look at mother cow, which provides the milk for the rest of our life. To sustain us, to give us the required nutrition. Right? And even when we die, to make our body offer to the fire, you need a cow ghee. Right? And even if after that also it is said that if somebody had died, right, for their better journey, for their souls, their atma ka better journey, it is recommended that you should feed to the cows. If you feed to the cows, then your departed souls of your relatives will get a better destination, will get a better journey. So can you imagine the cow takes care of us while we are living, and cow takes care of us while we are not in the same body. That is the value of cow. It's really amazing. Right? There is another story which comes to my mind is in the British era, there was a dacoit who were non-believers or who were the non-Sanatanis to say in a safer way, right? So they had a big gang and they were in the jungle and they were very hungry. So one of their gang members brings the cow from somewhere to the leader and says, let's slaughter this cow and we can have a big feast. We can have a big feast. So cow realizes that they have brought her here for slaughtering. So she looks right into the eyes of that leader and literally telling through her eyes that, please save me. Please save me. And this leader, for whatever reason, because he realizes that this cow is pregnant. And for cow's fortune, his wife was also pregnant. So he could make some connection and said, spare her. So he told the gang saying that let's not kill her. You please take her to some safe place so that she delivers her baby also nicely. So this event is over. And after a few years, this leader of the gang caught by the British government. And that time the rules were very strict. There were no human rights and other things, right? So this Sardar was sentenced to death. And when he was taken to that place where he was supposed to hang to death, right? So they take him there, they put a black cloth, they put a noose around his neck, and the whatever the person who is Jallad, right, who carries out this particular action, he removes the plank under his feet so that he falls into the below the platform and he hangs and dies. So as soon as that happened, he did not die. So this Jallad has to come again. do the same thing again. Second time, again he did not die. And the third time he did it, and the third time also this person did not die. And in those days, in British time, it was a rule that if anybody who does not die even after 3 attempts of hanging him, then you should let loose that person. That person is free. So, this person was coming out of the jail, and as soon as he came out of the jail, there was a cow standing right there and looking in his eyes again in the same way and said, "You saved my life, I saved your life." So how did he save his life? So cow was, actually the platform was raised and there was a hollow beneath the platform. So as soon as they were taking the plank out, the cow used to come inside and his feet were touching the cows. So he did not go down completely. So that is how he was survived. So can you imagine how cows are so sensitive that whatever is done to them, they do not forget. It is said, in fact, some of our elder relatives, they tell us when they were keeping cows, it is given that if anybody is sick in the home, then the cow goes around grazing, right? She grazes on the grass which has this jadi-buti effect to cure you. So whenever that sick person is given the milk of that cow, that person gets cured just by the cow milk. Because cow is so sensitive that the people who are taking care of me, someone in their family is sick. So I should chew the grass which has that medicinal effect. That sensitive cow is. Right? And I'll share one final story on the cow. Is such an amazing story. We all go to Tirupati Balaji, right? Stand in the line for hours together to take a darshan of Balaji. And when I heard this story, I said, wow, this is so amazing that how Krishna loves cows so much. So we all know the story. I'll make it really short in interest of time. So we all know that Bhrigu Muni comes and hits, he wanted to find out who is the supreme, right? And he does all the offenses to Shiva and Brahma. And then finally when he comes to Vishnu, he actually hits him on his chest. And Lakshmiji could not tolerate. Any chaste wife could not tolerate an insult to her husband. She can tolerate the insult to herself, but an insult to her husband cannot be tolerated. So she wanted Vishnu to give a lesson to Bhrigu Muni. And Vishnu said, no, what he did is fine. I don't want to take it. And then Lakshmiji became very upset and she left Vaikuntha. Right? And that's where she comes to Kolhapur. That's where we see the beautiful temple of Mahalakshmi. Right? And now Vishnuji could not stay in separation of Lakshmiji, so he also started searching and he comes near the 7 hills of Tirupati. Right? And there where he did his tapasya Srinivas, and he was covered by all the ant hills and everything. Right? So in that particular area was a king named Shola. And this Chola king had a 1 cow and a calf. This is actually none other than Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Right? So they were giving milk for some time. This cow was giving milk for some time. But after some time, this cow stopped giving milk. And the king was so fond of the milk of this particular cow. So he told the cowherd man, saying that tomorrow if something is wrong happening, right? So if tomorrow this cow does not give milk, I will kill you. So this cowherd man was very frightened. So he goes behind the cow wherever she is going. And then he saw with his own eyes, she went up to the hill. And one particular area where there was some covered hill, small hill, that cow stopped there and emptied her entire milk bag. Completely, all the milk was just coming out of her udders. And he could not tolerate this. That, you are just wasting milk on the ground and the king is going to take my life. So he had an axe in his hand. He threw the axe at the cow, and while doing that, so cow was about to get hurt. So Srinivas or Venkateshwara comes out of that hill to protect the cow, and that particular axe actually hits the forehead of Venkateshwara. So even today, you see the mark of that axe on the forehead of Tirupati Balaji. So this is how we see that Lord loves cows. So is it not our responsibility when we discuss all these things, how cow helps us, right? Like, gives us the milk, the ghee, the yogurt, everything without which we cannot imagine our life. It is practically not possible. Practically not possible. So we should be so grateful to the cows. If we cannot protect the cows directly, at least help those who are protecting the cows directly. Having the goshalas, we can give donations to such people who are running these goshalas, right? We can start using the cow products, right? If we start using the cow products, it will help the economy, right? And it will eventually, that money will go to the people who are taking care of the cows. So my humble request is, let's try, in whatever limited capacity we have, we must protect the cows. As Srila Prabhupada is saying, and there was a quote of Srila Prabhupada, if the cows are not protected, then there will be no Brahminical culture. And that is what we are seeing. People who are not taking care of the cows, their culture is completely lost. Completely lost. So if we take care of the cows, the Brahminical culture will be saved. Now, what is Brahminical culture? The second topic of today, right? What is Brahminical culture? The Brahminical culture is, first of all, what is Brahmana? Brahma Janati Brahmana. The one who knows the truth about Brahman. That is Brahmana, right? Making money is not important, but what we do or what we make out of money is very important. You're getting my point? Making money is not that important compared to what we make with money is very important. And that is what Brahminical culture is all about. And what are we using our money for? If you're using money for valuables, that's not Brahminical culture. But if you're using money to increase the value of our life, that is Brahminical culture. So Brahminical culture helps us to know and understand there is something higher. We have to develop some values. That is Brahminical culture. So Brahminical culture is actually teaches us three things. First, the education. What is education? It tells us that there is something higher. It's not just about getting your degree and getting into any of the colleges and pass out from that and part of the campus interview and get placed at one of the best of the companies. That is not the Brahminical culture. The Brahminical culture gives the education that there is something higher than just eating, mating, sleeping and defending. After that, the Brahminical culture gives the culture itself. What is that culture means? The culture is by their own behavior. The Brahmanas, by their own behavior and by their own example, spreads the culture of Brahmanic. What is the Brahman supposed to be? And the final thing, they help us with the devotion. So if you see in the olden age, there were two types of Brahmanas. One Brahmanas who were living closer to the king, and there were one Brahmanas who were living far away from the king. So who are living with the kings are called Raja Pandits, right? And the Pandits who are living in the forest, they are called Vanacharis. So at any cost, we see, as that's what Srila Prabhupada is also explaining in the purport, that Brahmanas are supposed to be saved or supposed to be protected and nourished and taken care by all the other orders. Because if Brahmana starts earning and Brahmana starts spending time to earn his livelihood, then where is the time for him to give the education to others? That's why we see all this Takshashila and Nalanda and all these big universities were full of all the Brahmanas and the Brahminical culture that was existing. But that is unfortunate today that we do not have that. But we see that how ISKCON as a community is trying to re-establish this, right? By providing an opportunity to create this Brahminical culture. Giving the education to the people, giving the culture to the people, giving the devotion to the people. Coming to the final part of today's discussion is about the purpose of life, right? We talked about cows, we talked about Brahminical culture. But what is the purpose of the life? It's a big question, isn't it? And everyone will think their purpose is different. But there must be a common purpose as well, right? We all, being a human being, there has to be a common purpose. So there is a beautiful story. We may have heard it many, many times, but it is worth repeating here while we're talking about the purpose of life. The story of Kailash. So once upon a time, there was a person named Kailash. Okay? And Narad Muni had an amazing quality of helping people go back home, back to Godhead, helping them in their spiritual journey. So he had so much causeless mercy on this one particular person named Kailash that he was ready to take him back home, back to Godhead without he had done anything. Maybe he had some past life karma so that Narad Muni was so impressed with him, right? But nonetheless, it's a causeless mercy. So he said, I want to take Kailash back home, back to Godhead without any of his qualification. So at that time, Kailash was 7 to 8 years old. Narad Muni comes and tells Kailash, hey Kailash, let's go back home, back to Godhead. I can take you right now. In this body, I can take you back home, back to Godhead. What did Kailash say? Kailash knew he's Narad Muni. He has the capacity to take me back home, back to Godhead. But what was the purpose of life? Because purpose of the life changes with the stages of the life you are in. It doesn't remain constant. So when Kailash was 7 to 8 years old, what was his purpose of life? My purpose is to play with my friends. There is nothing in my mind. I just want to play with my friends. Ye bachpan na milega dobara. It will not come back. I really want to enjoy my childhood. So he said, you come after some time. Narad Muni says, okay. Narad Muni comes when Kailash started going to the college. Narad Muni comes and says, Kailash, let's go. Kailash says, no, I cannot come right now. I just got into IIT. After so much of slogging into JEE and all these exams. And now I have got into IIT, I have to make sure that I get into the best of the placements that are coming and offering the 6 figures salaries, right? 7-figure salaries as a starting package. So I cannot come, I have to establish myself, come after some time. So Narad Muni comes after he gets his job and everything. So he comes and said, Kailash, let's go. Kailash says, no, the purpose of life now is like, I need to establish, I need to make myself in the social order a most prominent person. I have to get married, I have to have children. So I cannot come right now. I have to fulfill my purpose. He says, okay, I'll come after some time. So Narad Muni comes and this Kailash says, Hum do, hamare do. He has a nice girl and a boy, has a beautiful children that he had of about 7 to 8 years old. And says, Narad says, come on, let's go now. You have established yourself. You are socially well recognized. Everything is there. What is stopping you now? Let's go. He says, no. How can I come? I have to educate my children. I went to the IIT, but what is the guarantee that they will go on their own? I have to guide them. That is the purpose of my life. Otherwise, who will guide them? So, okay, I'll come after some time. So, Narad Muni comes after a long time now, when his children are well established and they are married and they had a children also. So, Narad Muni comes this time and now he is feeling that this time, because by this time he must be retired and must be ready to come with me back home, back to Godhead. So, Narad Muni comes and tells this Kailash, Kailash, now you are retired. Everything is good now, right? Let's go. He says, no. Now the ultimate purpose of my life is to make sure that the business that I have grew with my khoon pasina, my blood and sweat, how can I let it go? I need to make sure that my children makes the best out of my business. I need to really make sure that happens. So come after some time, please. And Narad Muni was really wondering what to do with this fellow. So he comes after some time. When he comes after some time, he did not find Kailash in the home. Please listen to this carefully. It sounds little funny, but it has a lot of deep lessons within it. It's a story of you and I. So he comes after some time and he tries to find Kailash, but he did not find Kailash in the home. And suddenly his eyes goes onto one of the walls and he sees the picture of Kailash with the garland on that photograph. So he realized that Kailash is no more. But the compassion of Narad Muni, the compassion of sage does not end there, right? So he was crying tears and coming out of his home and walking on the road nearby his home, he saw one dog barking, wow, wow. And he says, why this dog is like this? But because he has a Siddhis, Narad Muni could understand what this dog is speaking. So dog is telling in his dog language to Narad Muni, said, Narad Muni, do you remember I am same Kailash? I am same Kailash, I become a dog. So now Narad Muni was so compassionate and so merciful that he was ready to take that Kailash in the dog body to back home, back to Godhead. He said, I will take you back home, back to Godhead. Let's go. Kailash says, no, 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 no. I cannot come. He said, why? He said, do you know that my children have made so much progress? Now they have so much money and there are so many thieves around it. So in the night, these people sometimes they forget to lock the door. I have to hear to make sure that no thieves comes to this home and takes out all the money. So I have to protect my home here. Being a dog, no thieves can come around. So come after some time. So Narad Muni says, okay, now what to do? I'll come after some time. Narad Muni comes after some time and he sees this time the even dog is also not there. He goes into the home, inquires from his children, saying that there used to be one dog here. Do you remember? I said, yeah, pata nahi, koi to tha, kutta wahan pe, yeah, there was some dog. Looks like he died. So Narad Muni was like, feeling so sad. And then while feeling so sad, he was like, in their home, and of course, they respect the sage, right? So they were doing their thing, and the Narad Muni was sitting in their home. And he just happened to hear the hissing of a snake. And he realized that there is some snake in the backyard. So he just go to the backyard, and the snake was hissing and saying in his snake language, Narad Muni, I am same Kailash. Now I become a snake. So now Narad Muni felt that now this fellow will come. Says, come on Kailash, I will take you even in the snake body. Let's go back home, back to Godhead. That's the purpose, ultimate purpose of life. Let's go. And this Kailash says, no, 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 no. I have hidden a big treasure here with so many gold coins and so much rubies and diamonds and everything. And these people do not know. So I have to make sure that I protect that. And I'm being a snake. Nobody will come here. Now Narad Muni said, enough is enough. So Narad Muni goes inside the home and tells his children that, do you know that there is a deadly cobra in your backyard and you have a small children in home? By mistake, if they're going in the backyard playing and if this snake bites, then they're dead right on the spot. So really? Show us, where is that cobra? And Narad Muni pointed where the cobra was. And these people went with the stick and started beating this cobra like anything. They were almost beating him to the death. And Narad Muni says, enough, enough, I think he's dead now. I'll take care of the rest. Now you all can go. So they all went. And this snake was about to die. Right? And Narad Muni said, now do you understand? These are your own people whom you think you need to protect are now ready to kill you. Are you ready to come back? And at that time he realizes the ultimate purpose of life. And he says, yes, I'm ready to come. So you can see the compassion of the sages, the compassion of the sadhus is unlimited. Like that, we see the compassion of Srila Prabhupada. Nobody is ready to listen. People were not ready to listen in Mumbai, in India. People were not ready to listen to him in Jhansi. Can you imagine? So what to speak of people of America? He went there just to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. Nobody wanted Krishna, but Srila Prabhupada wanted them to have Krishna. Because Srila Prabhupada knew that if you have Krishna in your life, then your human form of life is fulfilled. You have achieved the ultimate purpose of life. Srila Prabhupada knew that. That's why Srila Prabhupada went there. Right? And many people just judge nowadays. It's an unfortunate thing because there are so many sadhus may not be behaving where they are supposed to be. Right? So there was another story how people judge just by the dress. So once there was a sadhu who was traveling by the first class compartment. Okay? And there was a very aristocratic businessman comes and sit next to him with his luggage and everything. So once he settles his luggage, He looks at the sadhu and says, sadhu, what is he doing in the first class, So he started to, make fun or trying to be sarcastic with him. So he told sadhu that, may I have a conversation with you? He said, yeah, sure. So he told sadhu that, see, sir, you also have a luggage. I also have a luggage. You also have a first class ticket. I also have a first class ticket. So we have pretty much in common, right? I think the only differentiator between us is just the dress, isn't it? The only differentiator between us is only the dress, isn't it? So sadhu understood that, where this person is going. So he did not say anything. He just calmly listened to him. When the station came, not his destination, they were going on a, long journey was there. But in between the station came. So sadhu said, let's just get down and have some refreshment. Let's have some tea or coffee, right? So of course, it's not a ISKCON sadhu, right, where tea and coffee thing. So this sadhu has him, comes down, and both were, having a tea. And then sadhu saw that the signal of the train is green now. The train is about to leave, right? And this gentleman, and actually train started, slowly. And this gentleman says, come on, let's go, get into the train. So this sadhu hold this person's hand. No, wait. What you were saying in the train, we have the same thing. What is the differentiator? Let's discuss about that. He says, no, sadhu, we can discuss this later. Our train is going, my luggage is there. Everything is there I cannot, afford to miss my train. No, let's discuss something very important, right? You said, no. What's the difference? Then this gentleman, bulb went, or tube light came to light. That difference between me and him is not just the dress. He can let go anything, anytime. He's completely detached from this world, whereas I'm completely attached even to my suitcase. So he fell at the feet of this sadhu and being very grateful to him that thank you for teaching me this wonderful lesson. There is another story was really interesting. There were four friends. I'll fast forward in interest of time. There were four friends because we need to understand the essence, right? So there were four friends, goes to the New York City, gets their hotel room on the 100th floor because that's what the everyone looks forward for, right? When they go to the New York, Manhattan. So they go there, they roam around, enjoy the entire nightlife of New York City, and comes home 6 a.m. in the morning. That's what the New York is all about, by the way, Manhattan, right? Comes home 6 a.m. in the morning, and to their surprise, the lift was not working. There was some fault there, and the reception said there is no other way but you have to climb the 100th floor to get to your room. And they were so tired, they wanted to sleep. So they said, okay, there is no option, let's start climbing. So they said, okay, everybody will tell some story, and by that we will reach the 100th floor. So everyone was telling story. They reached the 80th floor, and there was one guy who did not tell anything, right? So he said, now it's your time. He said, I have a very tragic story to tell. He said, doesn't matter, now we have almost reached. Whatever story you want to tell, you tell. So they almost reached to the 90th floor, 91st floor, and this fellow says, the story is we have forgotten the keys at the reception. Now they've reached almost to their destination, 90th floor, and they forgot the room keys, reception at the ground floor. That is exactly the story with all of us. We are achieving the different heights of affluence. We are achieving the different heights of technology. We are achieving the different heights of success in our life. But we forgot the most important thing, the key to happiness at the ground floor. Right? And that's why we are after so many things of this world and consider that as the purpose of life. And we are getting frustrated day after day. Once a teacher asks students to draw what you want to be in life. So somebody draw a pilot, somebody draw engineer, somebody draw musician, somebody draw engineer, like that pictures drew. And one person just drew a circle, two dots and a smiley face and a smile. That's what the child drew. And took it to the teacher. And teacher says, did you understand what I asked? What you want to be in your life? And the student was silent for some time, and then he said, yes, I did understand the question. I want to be happy in life. Then again the teacher said, you did not understand the assignment. You know what did the student say? Student say, my dear teacher, you did not understand the life. Ultimately, everyone wants to be happy, but we are finding the happiness in a wrong thing. We are finding a happiness in a wrong thing. Srila Prabhupada said that I have written this Bhagavad Gita, and by reading this Bhagavad Gita, even if one person becomes the pure devotee, that will be the perfection of me writing this Bhagavad Gita. Can you imagine? So Srila Prabhupada wrote this book so that we all can become pure devotees. It's not that Prabhupada wanted alone to be a pure devotee out there. He wanted all of us to become pure devotee, and that is the ultimate purpose of life. And that is what Srila Prabhupada is teaching in the purport so beautifully. That how you can become a pure devotee? It's a very simple process. Chant the holy names. But here, Srila Prabhupada makes it very even simpler than that. That devotion to the Lord is the most important. And how you express your devotion? By offering foodstuff to the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes so emphatically that be assured, if you have offered the food or the bhoga to the Lord with pure devotion in your heart, then Lord positively accepts it. And not just accept it, Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna positively eats the foodstuffs that you have offered. Can you imagine? And there are so many stories. Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Brahmana comes at the home of Jagannath Mishra and trying to prepare the food and offering. And Nimai, who is none other than Krishna himself, and comes and accepts and eats all this rice and puts everywhere. Can you imagine? We know the little boy Raghunandan, who said, I don't understand you are eating with all this. And then Krishna had to come and bite into the food of that laddu. Right? There are so many stories of Jagannath ji, where somebody offering the mango from outside because they were not allowed to go into the temple, and he offered the mango from outside, and the pujari saw the seed of the mango lying around the Jagannath ji. Can you imagine? That is Krishna. That is devotion. It's a very simple. The only thing required is the love within. The purpose of the life is to love and to be loved. To love whom? Not the flesh of this world, but to love Krishna. And whom we want to be loved by is by Krishna. Because Jivera Sarupa Nityara Krishna Das. We are the eternal servant and the lover of Krishna. And when we re-establish that connection, that is where this thing happens. And I'll end with the little funny story, but it was very instructive. So all of you may remember that once upon a time, I think it was about 15 to 20 years back, there was some miracle happening in the ether that Ganesh ji started drinking milk. That's what everywhere there was a news. If some of you are of the new generation, probably you may not know, then you please Google it out. You will find it. There was a time when it is said on that particular day, Ganesh ji is drinking milk. So everyone was like, whoever they had the Ganesh ji, they were trying to feed the milk. And if you go outside of this temple hall, you will see the Ganesh ji right there as well. So there was one of the brahmachari who took a table, got up to the table and started giving milk to the Ganesh ji out there. And for his fortune, I would say definitely for his fortune. Apparently he may have considered that as a misfortune, but for his fortune, Maharaj came while he was having a spoonful full of milk and putting it next to the Ganesh ji. And Maharaj pulled his dhoti and says, "Dear Prabhu, can you just come down?" And came down, and with it excitement he's saying, "Maharaj, do you know that Ganesh ji is drinking milk? There's such a miracle happening." And Maharaj says, Prabhu, don't you see that miracle happening in our own temple every day 6 times? That we offer the bhoga to Shri Radha Gopinath ji every day 6 times with love and devotion, and he eats. Don't we have that faith? Don't we have that faith? So it's such a deep lesson with that small interaction, and that is the real sadhu, right? I'm sure that person would never forget this incident the rest of his life, and he must have now increased his faith of how Shri Radha Gopinath ji accepts everything that we offer, not just the food stuff. That has been fortunate people who have that privilege to offer bhoga, right? But you have a privilege to offer flower, and Krishna accepts it. Shri Radha Gopinath ji accepts it, and that is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. The purpose of life is to please Krishna, and you do that, then you become completely happy within and without. So let us all thank Srila Prabhupada and thank all the Vaishnavas who are helping us to achieve this perfection. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions or comments, I know I have gone over time about 2 to 3 minutes, so please forgive me. But if any questions, we can take it later. Hare Krishna.